Pay very close attention to this. Very close attention. This is the matter of Brigitte Macron versus Candace Owens, defendant. But Candace Owens isn't the defendant. We're the defendant. Free speech is the defendant. Think about this. In the United States of America, a French head of state is suing her in a Delaware court because of her opinion. That's it. And whether they call it a fact or opinion, they want you to understand that what she said is so terrible, so horrible, so obstreperous that she must be crushed. That's what this is about. This is not a small foreign story, and it's not gossip, and it's not really about Brigitte Macron. Not about her at all. Though her name is in the excuse portion of this, and it's being used because what happened in France is a warning flare, a warning sign for every free society, and Candace Owens understands that. She understands it instinctively, and that is why she is being targeted. Because France just showed the world what happens when speech is treated as a privilege granted by the state instead of a natural right that belongs to the people. And when a Paris court convicted citizens for online speech, not threats, not violence, not incitement, but statements and jokes and accusations, it wasn't justice, it was discipline. And the message was not about truth or falsity. The message was simple. Do not speak disrespectfully of your high lords, and do not challenge the approved story and the approved narrative. And Candace saw through the framing immediately. When media outlets tried to pretend the ruling proved something biological or factual, when in reality, it proved only that France enforces cyberbullying laws that punish speech deemed harmful to reputation or dignity, which sounds gentle, especially in the United States. It sounds great until you realize that dignity is defined by the powerful and enforced by the state. And once that door is open, especially here, there's no closing it. There's no limiting principle, because anything that embarrasses authority can be labeled harassment, and anything repeated enough can be called cumulative harm. And that is how free speech dies. Not with tanks in the streets, not at Tiananmen Square with no. But with paperwork and fines and mandatory training bans and allegations of misinformation and disinformation and data information. Bans from platforms and quiet house confinement. And the most dangerous part is how many people shrugged and said, well, that's France. And they do things differently without realizing that America is already walking down the same path, walking the plank, inch by inch, through lawfare, through venue shopping, through civil punishment, replacing debate. And this is where Candace's bravery matters, because she is not just defending her own speech. She's defending the idea, this crazy idea, that citizens have the right to speak disrespectfully of people, especially in other countries who don't have anything to do with this country. She's a head of state in France, supposedly. She's the wife of whatever it is. But the point is, you understand this? It's extra-jurisdictional, extraterritorial. It's insane. Speaking disrespectfully of those who rule them. Oh, no. And that is the entire point of free speech. Not politeness, not kindness, not protection of feelings, but protection of dissent and mockery and parody and uncomfortable questions. And Candace made this crystal clear when she said that France did not prove anything about Brigitte Macron. They proved they have laws that criminalize speech. And she used the Rachel Dolezal comparison, not to mock, but to expose the logic. If the state can punish you for asserting an identity claim, well, then convictions prove nothing except obedience. And this is precisely and exactly why the reaction to Candace has been so revealing. Because instead of answering her arguments, instead of debating her logic, the response has been punishment and mockery and lawsuits and threats and suggestions that she's lost her mind, that she's crazy, aside from being an anti-Semite and just this dangerous person who's lost her mind. And now the Macron have escalated by suing her in the United States, choosing Delaware. Well, this is where the venue is, I'm sorry to say this. Not by accident, but because Delaware is the preferred battleground of elite legal warfare for a lot of reasons. Expensive, procedural, draining, designed to exhaust defendants, even those of significant means, rather than winning arguments. And this mirrors the same, here's that word again, the same ecosystem that produced the Dominion lawsuit, where the goal was not persuasion, but deterrence. And the lesson to the public is clear. Speak out, and you will be buried in legal process. And this is exactly how civilians are taught to police themselves. Remember, it's not the thought police I worry about, it's the thought vigilantes. People are asked to police themselves. Even during COVID, we saw this. Pick up here in New York, pick up 311, the rat line. Rat out a neighbor. See somebody barbecuing in their backyard a little too close? Call us. Drop a dime. Do this for the cause. Take one for the team. They're only your neighbors, but they're breaking the law. People are taught to police themselves because once people see that questioning powerful figures leads to lawsuits and bans and fines and public shaming, most, and this is the intention, most will fall silent. And that silence, prior restraint, whatever you want to call it, is the real victory. And Candace knows this because she has lived and lived it. And she has been smeared, attacked, and deplatformed, and libeled herself, and defamed, and targeted for years. And yet, she keeps speaking, which is why so many people listen to her, even when they disagree, because courage is rare and contagious. And what France did should terrify Americans, because the same arguments are already being made here. That speech should be limited for safety, that dignity must be protected, that harassment laws must expand, that misinformation must be punished, and every one of those phrases is vague by design. Because you see, vague laws are weapons for those in charge. And once you accept the fact, or you tolerate the idea that speech can be punished because it's offensive or embarrassing or destabilizing, you have accepted the end of real free expression. And you have accepted a system where truth is secondary to order. And Candace is warning us, listen carefully, that America is not immune. America is next. Because when foreign political families can come into American courts to silence American commentators here, when platforms cooperate with governments to enforce speech against her because they don't like her. They don't like her for so many reasons. They don't like what she's saying. They don't like her attitude. We used to call it uppity. I don't want to bring a racial component to it, but it's kind of like that. Like, who do you think you are, lady? And then there are people, the Ben Shapiros who say, wait a minute, you didn't clear this with us. We're in charge of this. Who are you? Who are you, little lady? Who gave you the permission to speak? Excuse me. Did you ask us? Did you pledge fealty to us? This is nuts. It's insanity. And when you have, internet platforms cooperating with governments, again, to enforce speech norms, when corporations act as proxies, as sock puppet proxies for censorship, then the First Amendment becomes a museum piece. It means nothing. Admired, but no longer practiced. And this is why it doesn't matter whether you like Candace or you agree with every claim she has made. It doesn't matter. Because the principle at stake is far bigger than any one person. It's about whether citizens retain the right to question or mock or doubt and challenge those who rule them, or whether we slowly adopt a European model where speech exists only until it makes someone important, uncomfortable. And the French court made its intentions explicit when it said the harm came from repetition, which means the crime was persistence, not falsity. Did you hear what I said? Persistence, not untruth. And that should sound alarms, because persistence is how movements are built, and how a truth emerges, and how power is challenged. And Candace Owens is persistent. And that is why they want to stop her. And that is why this moment matters. Because if America doesn't watch itself, and I know this is going to happen, it continues to import foreign speech norms through courts and corporate policies and cultural pressure. It will wake up one day and realize it has replicated France perfectly without ever voting on it. And the bravery of Candace Owens in standing up and saying no, in refusing to retract, in refusing to bow, in refusing to accept that some people are too important to question, is exactly what free societies depend on. And history shows that rights are not lost all at once, but they are chipped away incrementally, case by case and lawsuit by lawsuit, until people forget what they once had. And Candace Owens reminding everyone in real time that free speech is not meant to be safe. It's meant to offend and hurt and smell, and it's meant to be greasy and to be free. And that freedom only survives when people are willing to endure the punishment that comes with using it. And that is why this is not about Macron. It's not about France. It's about whether we as Americans still have the guts, the unmitigated temerity, the intrepidity to defend the principle that no ruler, no first lady, no president, no elite, so-called, is above ridicule or above suspicion or parody or commentary or lampooning. And Candace Owens is proving that she does. And that is why the system is coming for her. And that is exactly why she must be supported by us all, everyone, from President Trump on down. You know what's funny? She comes forward and she tells people, hey, I have some ideas who killed Charlie Kirk. Nobody cares. Hey, I've got some ideas as to who could. Don't you want to know who she... No. It's the strangest thing. And let me say something in conclusion. It's not enough just that they want to get Candace. They want to go for every show who ever had Candace on. And they want to use that as a separate publication of some form of libel. So they want to go after the Joe Rogans and all the other big platforms, because they want to crush it. People in power, tyrants, hate your ability to speak ill or correctly of tyrants, depending upon how you look at it. That is precisely what we're talking about right now, my friends. This is so critical. The First Amendment, free speech, the ability to express, to opine, is the lifeblood about what makes us who we are. There's nothing like it. Nothing. I can't say it enough. I'm not trying to be melodramatic here. The First Amendment, our ability to speak, unfettered, the spirit of it, is why the Supreme Court ruled that the anarchist cookbook was okay. How many times in my generation we were always told that we got to stop that music, stop that song, because if you play it backwards, if you played that song backwards, like George Carlin, you hear somebody say, "Hey, stupid, you're playing it backwards." No, you'll hear "Source of the Devil" or some kind of Luciferian reference. It's nonsense, absolute, total, unmitigated nonsense. And that's precisely what's happening right now. It's precisely what's happening right now. So, my friends, I say to you from the bottom of my heart, we live in this world, and I'm going to show this to you. I know I'm corny. This is it. This is the Constitution. This is it. Not the flag, Not the Declaration of Independence, not the Johnny Mann singers, not Ronald Reagan, not cable news. It's the Constitution. And the spirit of this, in the First Amendment, is the ability to speak truth to power. And that always will get you in trouble. Somebody will always find something that you're saying that they object to. It's wrong. Misinformation. You're spreading misinformation. When Einstein decided to challenge Newton, and he basically was heretical by saying this, when Copernicus and Galileo and all this, they went through the whole thing. You know the history. But if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't their ability to speak different and differently, we'd still be in the Dark Ages. So thank you, my friends. Thank you. Support Candace Owens and all of the Candace Owens around. It's not about Candace Owens. It's about us. She fights for us. This is not an exaggeration. It's the truth. There's one thing you'll know about me. I don't lie. I don't lie. And I don't bullshit when it comes to our freedom as a constitutional republic. Not a democracy, but as a constitutional republic. Thank you. Thank you for following. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for the support. Thank you for following Candace. And the Candace is out there. And if they do this to AOC, if they do this to whoever, Joy Behar, it doesn't matter. We're going to fight for them too. It's not about selective. We're not selective in our support of the First Amendment. It's all or nothing. So thank you for following this. Thank you for also following my beloveds, my wife's Lynn's Warriors. Thanks for subscribing to her on YouTube. The fight against child predation, human trafficking, it's all but forgotten. And thank you. Thank you for this. Please like this video. You know how it works. I don't want to keep begging. Please like me. Like me. It's so demeaning. But the likes mean everything. It puts us into the HOV lane so that people will hear our message. That's all. Please hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. And also remember, also, I've got some questions. Go to the comments section. I've got some carefully crafted observations and questions. Pick one you like. Answer them all. But whatever you do, while you still have the right to speak, comment as you see fit.